Happy Tuesday, my friends. So this will be my coolest video. And this video, I'm going to show you how to create an AI trading assistant for interactive brokers using Llama Index's Agentic RAGs and specifically tool calling. So you can ask any question like, what is the price of NVIDIA? And you get an answer. I at 121.17. What is the price of Tesla? And then you get 173.82. You can also say, give me a chart of Tesla with five min bars last 3 days, and then you get a chart of Tesla. I did not optimize prettiness. Look at the gap, but this is between weekend, so there's like a 2 day gap. But anyways, it's pretty cool. You can also do like how many open orders do I have? You have no open orders. Okay, so I can say buy 100 Tesla. Be careful. This will buy Tesla. So do not do this at home at 173. Okay, so now you can check. So it says buy order 261 submitted. Then I can say how many open orders do I have? And you'll see it went from 0 to you have 1 open order. And then I can say cancel all my open orders, and then it says canceled all your open orders, and then let's double check how many open orders do I have. And note this does real trades and real cancelizations, so use a demo account please. So yeah, let's get started. So this is what we want to do, and let's get started. Okay, so I started something from complete scratch now. Okay, so we're going to be using Llama Index for this video, and the goal, as we mentioned before, is to create a mini AI trading assistant. Okay, so like Agentic RAG, RAG is retrieval augmented generation, where basically you add the power of your data to LLMs, like they can chat with your data, query your data, reason with your data, all that stuff. But Agentic RAGs means you have research agents that know how to use tools, they know how to call functions, they know how to do chain of thought, they know how to reason, they know how to do decision making, all that stuff. We're gonna do just a very basic one, which is called tool calling, which is part of a router. So what is tool calling? So tool calling is, let's say you have a set of tools and you want to see which one I should use. So like in our specific case, we're gonna implement tool calling for getting the portfolio value. We're gonna have tools for getting the portfolio value, getting number of open orders, canceling open orders, placing buy or sell orders, get current price of a stock, and get current price. We had a chart. Get the stock chart, and then I didn't show in my demo, but like we also want to answer questions from stock news. So we want to answer things like, why is Tesla down today, and that sort of thing. So we'll do that too. Okay, so first things first, I want to talk about some prerequisites. So I have a video on minimalistic RAG with Llama Index. So basically this is RAG from scratch video. This is important because will give you like the vector index. So that will generate a vector tool. And we are going to definitely be using that. So like if you need more background information, please watch this video. And also this is going to be using IB Async / IB Insync. So I have this I called it the ultimate API tutorial, but I guess no one watches this video anymore. So, but you need this if you want to do this demo. Okay. And again, do this on the demo account. It's not financial anything. This will make real trades, so be careful. Okay, so let's get started. So first thing, when you're using the Llama Index, you have in the settings where you can specify Oops, sorry. In the settings, you can specify what model to use. So the types of models that are important are the LLM model for synthesis and the embedding model for the retrieval. Finding the most relevant documents and that sort of thing. So you can in the settings you can set those models. So by default, they use OpenAI, so you can get an OpenAI key by going on this link. I showed you in a lot of videos this. Sign up, you sign in, basically. You write your sign-in credentials. 1 second, let me do it. So I'm signing in. Yeah, and then of course, you go to your settings, and this costs money, of course, not that much, but you create a billing account, your profile, and you have user API keys, or now I guess there's a new thing, so you have that. You copy your key, and then, you copy your key, and then once you copy your key, you're gonna put it in an environment variable, so you call this function os.openAPI key equals your API key, because by default it looks for the OpenAI API key in this environment variable. So that's what you need to do. I guess this is a repeat from all my other videos, but I figured I will say it. Okay, so like I said, the two most important things in the RAG are like you need the retrieval model for retrieving the most relevant documents or tools, relevant documents and things like that, so that's like the embedding model, and you need the LLM for the synthesis and the thinking and that sort of thing. So let's set it, because the default uses 3.5 turbo, I think, and that's not good enough for our purposes. So let's set the model. So you set the model. The most important thing is you import settings, and when you import settings, you have this like settings dot LLM equals OpenAI, and then you do model, and I recommend using GPT-4 Turbo. The new GPT-4o, the Omni thing, doesn't work as well for some of the tasks. To be honest with you guys, the 4 Turbo works better. And then settings that embeddings model, we're just gonna use the default, but I'll show you how to do it anyway. Embed model. Because in general, you can use a better embedding model. There's like a new model from Voyage AI that has it's like a finance specific one. So you can even get a better model. So let's see if that worked. Okay. So now let's get to the beef of it. We're going to do tool calling. Again, by the way, if you guys like this video and you're new, please like and subscribe. It's a small channel, so it really helps a lot when people like and subscribe. Okay, let's go. So, and I really appreciate it, and imaginary hug from far away. Okay, so tool calling, aka, is like function calling. So basically what this tool calling thing does is you have a list of tools or functions you want to use. So you give natural language, and the LLM is going to infer which of these tools to use and which parameters to use to call the tool. So the thing is, how you do it in Llama Index, there's going to be a function called llm.predictandcall on your list of tools with your query, and you get back the relevant function along with its arguments. And there's a core Llama abstraction called function tool from defaults, and this you have to wrap every single function or tool that's going to be part of your tool calling, because this will basically tell Llama Index under the hood that you have to select between these tools. So I will give you an example in a second to make this a little bit more clear. But the important thing is these functions that you're gonna wrap inside this function tool that from defaults. You need type annotations and a docstring, since they're gonna be used as part of the prompt. This is very important. And by the way, you can wrap any Python function. So let me show you guys the most simple example, and I just loaded the function tool. But the most simple example is, let's say we have just two random functions. We can have a function to add two numbers, like def add, and I'll do A is going to be int, B is going to be int, and then it's going to return an int. So I'm going to say, I'm going to have a docstring, returns sum of inputs. Again, this is important because it'll be the prompt to the LLM. So you do return A plus B. Okay. And then let's throw in another function, def square. And then let's do this squares the number. So we'll do int, and we'll do returns a times it's squared. Oops, what did I do wrong? Return. Okay. So now that you have these two functions, you're gonna wrap it in the function tools from default. So you have to do this. You have to do add tools equals function tool dot from defaults of fn equals add. That's the add tool. And then similarly for the square tool, and I should probably call it tool and not tool, square tool, you can do equals function tool dot from defaults function equals square. Okay, so now what you do is this is the we need the lm.predict and call part where we call it on the list of tools with our query. So like we're gonna have to do this. We're gonna have to open the model. You don't have to just use OpenAI, but like you need to do from Llama Index.llms that OpenAI import OpenAI, but you can do non-OpenAI, but let's do OpenAI for now. And for this, using the Omni GPT-4o is good enough. So let's do this. OpenAI model equals GPT-4.0. And by the way, I will say, in general, all the GPTs are good enough for like usually for like tool calling to figure out which tool to use and the parameters. But for like sophisticated things like asking like questions that it's like hard, like you ask a question and there's some thinking to it, that's when you need some of the beefier models. Okay, so now that we have this, let me show an example. So you have a query. You can say like square 3, right? That should give us 9, right? So we call this llm.predict and call, and then we give it our tools. So our tools in this case will be the add tool and the square tool, and we have a user message which will be our query. And when you call this, you're gonna get a response. The response is gonna be like an agent chat response, and you see like there's a string version if you do dot response, and you get 9. But also like you'll see later that there's a few other things of interest. So let me actually call this response. So you can do like to get the string version, you can do response.response. To get the one we want, which is the return type itself, I want it to return the int. I could do response, and then I look at this. I have like sources, and then I'll go sources 0, and then I have raw output. This is the one I'm interested in because like I'm gonna do graphs and that sort of thing, and I don't just want the string response. I want the I want whatever I tell it to respond. If I want it to return a plotly figure, I want that. So that's the response. Another example is, okay, so let's just, for the sake of comparison, let's do, so square 3 is 9, right? So let's just say add 4 and 6. This should give us 10, right? So let's print this thing, the raw output. We see we get 10. Okay. And just by the way, you can, and I guess I wrote the note here to get the raw output. Let me put it here. Okay. Okay. So now I give a note. You can use verbose equals true to show like the thought process. So like if I do this, I can add a verbose equals true, and then let me just show you guys how this looks. So look, it gives us like what it's doing. It's saying calling function add with args a equals 4, b equals 6. This is very useful for debugging. I had a lot of times where like I didn't know something wasn't working, and then I do verbose equals true, and then I see, oh, it's calling it with like a weird argument. Something is off. So yeah, that's important. So okay. So now let's get to like the beef of this thing. So as you see, by the way, like the LLM does a good job of choosing the tool and knowing to give the tool with the right parameters. In this case, for the add, it was 4 and 6. Okay. So now let's get to the fun stuff. Let's do the trading assistant. Okay. So I'm gonna import Plotly Express as PX because we're gonna have a Plotly plot, and because I want to return the Plotly plot, and I want to use type annotation. It's gonna plotly plot as of type figure, so that's why I'm importing from plotly.graph objects, import figure, and then of course we're gonna use IB insync / IB async, so I'm gonna import star from that. Okay, so that's good. So to set up with IB, as usual, you sign in with IB gateway, and then you connect. Please use a demo account. Okay, so and then you're gonna load IB async functions, set up your port and clients, but do not connect yet. Yes, you can in theory connect and then change the logic later on, but like if you're gonna end up using things like Streamlit, it's probably better to only connect during the function call itself. And I'll explain that when we'll talk about Streamlit one of these weeks. Okay, so what do we have to do? We have to do IB equals IB. We have to do util.start loop. This is because the whole asyncio thing. This is nest async IO for Jupyter notebooks because you can't have like an event loop within an event loop. Anyways, also now let's add the port. Let's do port equals 4003, and let's do client ID. Let's do client ID. What client ID do we want? Let's do equals 5. Okay. So now, what functions or tools do we want to implement? So remember, we want. It's funny. In the demo, I didn't even show you things like you might want like your portfolio value and that sort of thing. So you know what? Let's do that. So like you can do def portfolio value. And then this will return a string. And then remember, you need the doc string, so you can say like gives the value of your portfolio. I didn't show this in the demo, but like, okay. So what do we have to do? We have to first connect to IB, connect port equals port, client ID equals client ID. And then we'll do portfolio value equals, remember from the big interactive brokers video, is you get it by doing for ib.account summary, value in ib.account summary, if value.tag equals net liquidation, net liquidation. So the account summary, the net liquidation tag, that's the account value. Like if you were to like dump all your things today, and so let's return your portfolio is worth float portfolio value, and then let's format it to the nearest 2 decimal places like this. I guarantee you I made a mistake. I think that's right. We'll check. We'll check when we run it later. Okay, so this is the portfolio value, right? And then remember, I wanted to, and I should have added it here. I didn't add it to like the things we wanted to do. I did, getting portfolio value. And now getting number of open orders. Okay, so getting number of open orders, how are we going to do that? So this is where like we're going to use the ib.openOrders, and we're going to do length of that. But there is a case where you have a pending cancel and you don't really want to count that in open order. So let's handle that case for a second. So this is the portfolio value function. So you know what? Let's actually wrap these one at a time. So portfolio value, call it portfolio tool. Portfolio tool tool equals function tool dot from defaults portfolio value. Okay, so let's do it one at a time. So this is the you know what? Let's do it one at a time like this. So I'll call it functions or tools to implement, and then I'll say portfolio value. Okay, so now that's one thing. So the next thing we want to do is we want to do open orders. So what do we need for open orders? So what we need for open orders is we're going to need something like def open orders. It's gonna return a string because like I want the message returned, and it says like say gives the number of open orders. So remember, these doc strings and the type stuff is important because it's going to be used as part of the prompt for the LLM. Okay, so now let's do the similar thing. We're going to connect. You should probably have, if not connected, connect, because you don't want to accidentally double connect. But I mean, it's not a problem. It's just really annoying that you'll have to restart your thing. Anyways, so like let's do two things. Let's just return. You know what? We can do something like this. So remember, ib.openOrders is so you know. Let's actually do two cases. If you have no open orders, so if length ib dot okay, so let's do something like this. Num open orders. Let's do something like this. Let's call it 1 second. So let's do something like this for number of open orders. So what am I doing here? ib.openTrades is the number of open orders, right? But if you have in your order status a cancel, that means it could be stuck on pending cancel or that sort of thing, and that's why it's still showing up as open trades or open orders, and we don't want to overcount that. So let's call this num open orders, and then let's have two cases. We'll have if num open orders, no, we could just have one case. Return we want to keep it simple here. You have num open orders, Okay. Let's return that. We don't need the dot. Okay. So this is the open orders. So then from that we can create the open orders tool similarly to the previous thing. So we can do like open orders. We'll do like open order tool like that. Okay. So now we have open orders. So what's the next thing? We wanted like a cancel order tool. So I'll do cancel order. And then I also want to return a string because I want to tell the user their order was canceled. So so you could do something like this. You can do cancel open orders like this. It's going to return a string. So let's do we're going to say cancels all your open orders. And what do you have to do that? If you guys remember my other videos. So after you connect and everything, you're going to do the, oops, sorry. You're going to connect, and then you're going to do, I should definitely do ib.disconnect, or this will completely screw up. If you don't do disconnect, you're going to like get client ID already in use. So please do ib.disconnect. Portfolio. I guess I never pressed enter here. So you have to do ib.disconnect because otherwise it'll be annoying and you have to do kernel restart. So now cancels all open orders. So we're gonna connect, of course, and then we're gonna do for order in ib.openOrders. We're gonna do ib.cancel order, and then at the end we're gonna just write something like return we canceled all your open orders, something like that. Okay, and then again you have to wrap it in that tool. So let's wrap it in the tool. So we'll do cancel order tool equals function tool stuff from default, function equals cancel open orders. So we have the cancel order. Okay, what else do we need to do? We need to do trade tool to buy and sell. This is the dangerous one. This is the one I say like, that's why I say use a demo account, because the trade tool makes real trades. Okay, So let's do that. Okay, so let's do, oops, what am I doing? Um, Buying or selling stock, trade tool. Again, this is a simple example. This will only work for stocks at the moment, but like you could generalize this to anything, and you can actually be smart and not have to write every function. You can like make the LLM agent figure that stuff out. But like we'll save that for the next video. So like we're gonna trade stock. So what do we need for that? So we'll do def trade stock. We need, what do we need? We need an action. Action is a string. It's buy or sell. We need a symbol. A symbol is a string also, like Tesla, Nvidia, that sort of thing. Num shares, we'll make that an int, no fractional trading. And the limit price, we'll make a float. Okay. And we'll return a string. Okay. Oops. Okay. Okay. So let's write the doc string buy or sell num shares of symbol at limit price. Okay. So we connect again. I keep forgetting to do ib.disconnect. So I have to add ib.disconnect. Okay, so let's in this case let's just do the disconnect before we do anything. Okay, and now let's connect. Okay, okay. So now what do we need? We need we need to do the order, right? We need to do something like what did I do? What did I was I thinking? Okay, so we need we need our order. So order will be a limit order because this is only for limit orders because I have a limit price. Because I said I write at limit price, so I do limit order and then I have like action. It's the buy or sell, and then I have in addition to action I have num shares, and then I have limit price. Okay, so that's the order, and then you place the order. Dot place order. And then let's save it as a trade equals ib.place order, and then what are we placing order on? We're gonna do stock symbol equals contract equals symbol equals symbol, exchange equals smart. Oops, sorry. Let me just write it all down. Symbol equals symbol, exchange equals smart, currency equals USD. We don't need to qualify contracts. I mean, we do sometimes because it can be ambiguous. So let's write it as stock. Let's be a little bit more precise. Stock equals this. Tesla is not ambiguous, but like Meta, for example, is ambiguous. So you should probably always do ib.qualify contracts. Stock trade equals ib.place order stock. And if none of this stuff makes sense to you, please watch my video on IB async. I have like dozens of videos on that. But otherwise, and by the way, I'm gonna also make a lot of videos without interactive brokers with RAG. I just haven't got to it. So so place order. Oops, what am I doing? Order, right? That's it. And then you get the trade, and then let's just show the user that you actually placed the order. We're gonna do like to make the user more comfortable. We're gonna tell it like return oops, what am I doing? You placed order trade dot order ID. I guarantee you'll have a bug. You placed order with ID this thing. Maybe I'll say something like this actually. Order with ID is submitted. Okay, so that's the trade stock. Again, we'll do the trade stock tool. We'll do the function tool thing to get the trade tool equals function tool dot from default. Function equals trade stock. So, okay, great. So now we have the trade stock tool. So now let's get to a few of the more exciting things. The first is the current stock price tool. So I'll say current stock price tool. So the current stock price tool, we're gonna actually do something like this. We are going to, of course, do def get current stock price symbol, and then it returns a string. And what do we want? We want get current stock price of symbol. And then we're gonna connect, and then we're gonna disconnect before we forget to. ib.connect, ib.disconnect, disconnect. And then what do we want? We want, again, we want the stock. So we're gonna do the same thing here, stock. And what else do we want? We want to get the market data for that stock. And here you always need qualified contracts, by the way, when you request market data. So to get market data, if you guys remember from my other videos, it's ticker equals ib.rec market data, stock, true, false. You only want a snapshot, right? So snapshot, this is like, let me write the argument. Snapshot equals true. Regulatory snapshot equals false. Contract equals this. And what's the second argument again? Generic tick list equals that. Because we don't need it like we can we don't need the market data connection after we get the price. And then I'm gonna throw in a ib.sleep. What does ib.sleep do? It just makes sure the ticker gets filled, because if you call it right away, it'll be nan because it didn't fill yet due to the asynchronous nature. So like if I didn't do this, it'll give me nan because it doesn't wait for the ticker to get filled. But probably 1 second is too much. You can wait less. So you probably want to like do something like wait until fill, do it. But this is just for simplicity. So now we got the market price, and then we can give a return string. We can return something like return f. We'll say symbol is currently trading at. One more after this and we're done. And then we'll round to the nearest 2 digits, of course. I hope this works. And then we'll wrap the tool again. So we'll do something like current stock price tool. Okay. So last tool, and this is gonna be the last but not least, because this is the most cool one because you're gonna make a plot. So what is this one? This is gonna be like a chart of stock tool. Okay. So what are we gonna do here? We're going to we're gonna have a function and we're gonna call it def. This is where you need some cherry picking, because you need some to help. And by the way, if you get an error the first few times, you use verbose, all that stuff to make it good. But like, let's say in theory, like you don't want to rely on that. That's when like these real LM agents that do chain of thought and go back and forth to try to get an answer, they might mess up the first time, but the next few times they know how to get the syntax perfect. So but we're gonna not do that in this video, but in the next videos we will. So what do we need? Let me just actually copy what I have here. Because it's a lot of writing. So get stock chart. Oops. Okay. So get stock chart. It's gonna have a symbol as a string, bar size is an int, bar size unit as a string, duration is an int, duration unit is a string, and then use regular trading hours as boolean, and it's gonna return the figure. Remember we imported this plotly figure at the beginning of the video somewhere. Where did I import it? Oh, okay, dot figure. That's important because we want to return a type figure. Okay, so the doc string is gonna say get current stock price for ticker, for bar size, for latest duration and use regular trading hours as default. And this is very important, by the way, because like you can have minute as MIN, you can have minute as M, or you can have day as DAY or just big D. So this is where like I added from the doc string itself of the historical bar data is like when specifying a unit, historical data request format is something like that, because this helps get it right. Again, in the future we're gonna not rely on these things and we're gonna let our agent figure that out. Okay, so of course, let's do the rest ourselves. We're gonna connect. We are going to qualify contracts, all that good stuff. We are going to disconnect at the end. But we're gonna also request historical data. So we're gonna do bars equals this dot request historical data. I added a few things here. So like to parse the data, remember you need a duration string as like let's say it's duration string is gonna be this. It's gonna be like, let's say you want 100 seconds. It's gonna be 100 space seconds. 3 days you're gonna be 3 space days. 2 weeks is gonna be 2 space weeks. That sort of thing. That's duration string, right? So so we're gonna infer that from the argument. So we're gonna have duration string equals gonna make it a string, the duration, which I said is int, plus a space after that, and then the duration unit. And for bar size settings, it's like either 5 space mins or 1 space day or 1 space min. If it's only 1, it's going to be without the s at the end, and if it's more than 1, it's going to have an s, but there's a space. So it's going to be like bar size setting equals string bar size plus a space, the unit, and then s if the duration is greater than 1. Otherwise, this. So basically, if it's 3 minutes, there will be an s. If it's 1 minute, it'll be 1 min. Okay, so we're gonna connect now and get the bars, get it as a data frame by doing df equals util.df bars, and then let's plot with plotly. So plot with plotly, do fig equals px.line, df x equals date, y x equals date, y equals close, and then we're gonna disconnect, and then we're gonna return the figure. Okay, so great, we have that, and so now we're gonna put this in the stock chart tool. Okay, so now we have the stock chart tool, but last but not least, remember in the previous video where I spoke about RAGs, I had the example of like what is an important date for Tesla stock investors, and I want to be able to query the news and query like relevant things. So we're gonna create a query engine tool from the last video. So I'm not gonna get into too much details. Watch my RAG from scratch video for this, but basically I have a function get query engine from last video. It gives me the query engine, and so once I have the query engine, then I'm going to have to create a query, a vector query tool. So I'm going to do something like query engine equals this, query engine from last video. And then, so this will basically create the index and that sort of thing. I'm using a tiny data set, so it's very fast, but like it creates the index and does the embedding. So then like when you have a question, it'll find documents similar to your question or nodes similar to your question, and then the LLM will combine those nodes to give you like the best response. Okay, so now we need to also wrap this in some sort of tool. So let me show you guys how to do that. So first we're gonna need to wrap this as a function. So remember from the last video, to query it, you do like something like query engine dot query, and then query, and then you get a response. And then the response is also like we want if we want just the string part of the response, you can do response dot response. This gives you just the string part, and that's what we're gonna want. So like the rest of the function is we're gonna just have something like a def get vector query response, and we're gonna have, again, type annotation is important, string, and then it's gonna return string. Here I actually got away without having a doc string, but anyways, so you take the query, you throw in the response, you query the query engine, you get a response, and then the response gives you the string. So now I'm gonna then create the vector query tool. Oops, what did I do wrong? I think I need this thing. No. So I'll do vector query tool equals function tools tool.from defaults, and then I'll have name equals vector tool, function equals get, what did I call it? Get vector query response. Vector query response. And then like this. I guarantee you'll have an error. Okay. Anyway, so this is the vector query tool. So now remember, we have to put all the tools together because when I showed you the example with the add and the square way back in history, I added them together. I said tools equals this. So let's just throw in all our tools together as a list. So I actually already have that. So I'll do like this, tool list. Okay. And unless I rename something, this should work. And so let's test a few examples. Let's test with verbose equals true to see the thinking. So like, what is Tesla current stock price, right? And then we could call the LLM.predict and call, and I'll set verbose equals true to try to figure out what's going on. So like, as you see, it's calling function get current stock price with arguments this. It is trading at 174.02. And then we can, of course, look at the response itself. That response gives you the string, but remember we wanted response dot sources 0 dot raw output. That's what we wanted, which is going to be the same in this case due to how we define the function. But just as another example, let's do with verbose equals let's do with verbose equals true again, actually. And to say, give me 5-min chart for Tesla last 3 days. So what is it doing? It's calling the function get stock chart with the arguments bar size equals 5, bar size unit equals min, duration equals 3, duration unit equals d, and then but then look, the string response gives you this string. It gives you this string, but we actually don't want that. We want this guy because we want the figure itself, right? So like source is 0 raw output gets the figure. Let's just try one last example of let's do query as a Tesla investor. What is a key upcoming date I should be concerned about? So then let's still call this thing exactly. And then I wrote verbose equals true. It says calling vector query with args key upcoming date for Tesla investors. I guess it inferred, it said this is not relevant. Name response not defined. What did I mess up on? Okay, so I guess I messed up on this one, so that's good. So response, response not defined? Weird. What is not defined? What is there not to like? Response not defined. What the hell is response? What if I just return this for a second? Let's see if this let's see what happens if I do this. Name response not defined. Oh, My spelling is bad. I noticed I forgot a O. I did response. Okay. I need response. And then I can, so then I can actually do response.response. Okay, great. This should work. Oh, oops, I just ran this again. But let's do this one. Yes. Oh, see, this gives you like a May 7th BS that you don't need. And it's not smart enough to know where in the past. This is where like I probably need a better model for this guy. I need a GPT-4. It's kind of weird that it gave me May 7th. But this is where like improving the models you use can give you better results. Like if you make sure everything you're using is like GPT-4 Turbo, so maybe I can make this also GPT-4 Turbo, for example, and then maybe I can, I made this GPT-4 Turbo already, so maybe that'll give me slightly better answer. Yeah, I'm running this twice. I'm not being careful with things, but anyways, let's just see what it gives us if we made everything GPT-4, or maybe the source of randomness gave me that. I don't want the made date. The made date is irrelevant. That's the problem I have right now. Great. So see, if you do GPT-4 Turbo, it fixes that. So use the better model if you need precision, because the May date was completely useless. Okay. So now, just for fun, I said like let's create like a text input widget with panel. I'm actually was an expert in IPy widgets, but they don't seem to be working well with notebooks. So I'll show you how to use something called panel, which is pretty cool because you can make dashboards from the panel widgets on Jupyter. But I'm not an expert, so I'm just going to show you how to use it. The key is we're going to always be using this like response equals lm.predict and call, and that's it. I'm not going to explain this. So yeah, so now you can ask what is the value of my portfolio. $336,000. Oh, that's pretty bad. It's so funny. I had a demo account, right? This is a demo account. I think demo accounts start at $1 million. So my demo account is down a lot. Ooh, pretty funny. Okay, so now I can say like, can you give me Tesla chart 5 min bars last 2-3 days? It never shows when you want it to show, right? Anyways, you could get it to work if you play around with things enough. Maybe I'll do this. I'm not an expert at panel. Like, it's so funny because when I showed you the demo originally, it worked. Oh, okay, now it worked. So funny. Here, this makes it not work. There, this didn't work and that worked. You tell me why. Okay, so now like how many you gotta be careful, by the way. The buy and sell orders actually do buy and sell orders. Okay, so I could say like buy, let's do a weird number. Buy 34 shares of let's do some random stock. Let's do Meta. See if that worked. Weird. I must have made a mistake somewhere copying and pasting because buy 34 shares of Meta gave me Meta's trading at this. That's wrong. What the heck? Oh, it's not wrong. I'm wrong because this is only works for limit orders. So I can say at, let's say 450, 470. Oh, order submitted. Okay. Yay. So then I can say how many open orders do I have? This will require some refining, by the way. You have one open order. Yeah, this will require some refining. It makes real trades, so be careful. I actually demoed for myself on my real account for a second, like an idiot, and it made real trades. Didn't make real trades because it was after hours and stuff, but like be careful. By the way, the reference I'm using for this is a site called deeplearning.ai. So, by the way, if you really like this video and it helps you, please like and subscribe. I will really appreciate this. So if you go to deeplearning.ai, you get all these short courses that are amazing. And it's Andrew Ng's site, and he's like, or Ing, I guess is the good pronunciation. He's like the best. He's like Michael Jordan for teaching, but he doesn't teach all the things. But he's got these short courses, explore courses. I guess they changed the format, but like these short courses, and there's like a thing on Agentic RAG, building Agentic RAG with Llama Index. So this is the course that I recommend. This guy is the CEO and founder of it, and he explains it pretty well. So like I highly recommend that course. Anyways, hope you guys enjoyed the video, and thank you guys so much. Please like and subscribe and share. I appreciate it. Thank you so much.